I don't know, I would say in general, I like the idea of a biennale. I think it could have a really strong influence. In our particular case, I don't know if there's any sort of pivotal moments over the last few biennales that I can point to that have dramatically influenced us. I mean, I would say the OMA fundamentals one is probably stands out amongst all the other ones as a kind of the most kind of engaged dialogue maybe that I've sort of seen, and there was a sort of a lingering conversation coming out of that in the year or so afterwards that felt productive.
But there's also value in having a crowd of architects and people within the architecture world get together. So there's, on the one hand, you have the work that's being displayed that can be influential, like any other exhibition. But there's also value in like talking to people and having the sort of like direct conversation that you don't always get, or like it's harder to get outside. I guess generally though the ones that have a single idea, that it's like there's a simplicity and a clear message, those tend to be the ones we remember more vividly.
I mean, our project is essentially about the free space of the university. So it's looking at the architecture of the academic commons, basically, through physical models, but also through a series of drawings and data. It's a research project that looks back to the two sort of archetypal projects in ancient Greece of education spaces, Plato's Academy and the Theater of Dionysus. One is a courtyard, one is an amphitheater filled with steps, and kind of tracing the lineage of those two typologies across time through the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st century in a series of projects to sort of see what that looks like.
The exhibition is not just about Greek universities, but it's about, or Greek learning spaces, but it spans from history to present across the world, and it features both built and unbuilt projects. And tries to capture the essence of the free space within the academic institution. The title of the show, which is the School of Athens, it was influenced by Raphael's fresco, which represents an ideal space of learning. So when you look at the fresco, it's not clear whether it's, well, you can tell that it's not really a room. It's semi-indoors, semi-outdoors. People are sort of casually like doing their own thing, learning, discussing. So that represents a type of learning free space that then inspired this show.
The ambiguity and informality of that space is kind of what we were seeking out in all these other university projects from around the world right now, and trying to sort of map the architectural characteristics of that kind of space.
The two main examples that are being featured in the show, as Ryan said, are the Dionysus Theater, which in ancient Greece was the space where you went to learn. It was mandatory for Athenian civilians to go to theater. That was the only form of education. And that has the typology of the steps and the stair and the amphitheater, which is replicated in the space itself, but also you see it traced in other like contemporary university spaces. And the second example is it's Plato's Academy, which has the typology of the courtyard that then again also gets replicated in contemporary university design.
But what we take back, I think, is an interesting one. I mean, it's definitely seen as a kind of first step of research towards being able to then rethink and redesign what that academic commons can be. Certainly meant as a tool for architects to then have kind of more consciousness and more of a kind of expanded toolkit when designing this part of the institution. We feel like there's too much energy right now put into the classroom itself, and these kind of in-between spaces are left out. I think that can be applied in Greece. There's an urgency to rethink the institution of the university in Greece, but it's just as much applicable around the world.